Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I'm going to share with you a fascinating Dogman encounter, one that's quite unusual. Before I get into this encounter with you guys, a couple of links I'd like to share. As you know, I am a commercial-free channel, so in order to continue to grow and go, I rely on my Patreon, PayPal, and merch links. Also, I have a second channel, which is specifically just for creepypasta, fan fiction, and scary voice acting. If that's anything that you guys are into, follow that link and give some of those stories a listen. You may just like them. And with that, guys, let's get on with this encounter, shall we? As of late, I've stumbled across some man-made or woodcraft that I've found when I'm out on my daily runs with my dogs. These look very odd to me compared to the normal bushcraft. I usually take them into the Afan Forest Valley. I make 2 runs each day with the dogs. Probably 5 days out of the 7 we visit this area, so I'm used to being in the forest, the sounds and usual finds. But as of late, I've noticed some strange things going on and some strange finds. As I mentioned earlier, I found some structures and snaps that I can't put down to the usual weather or bushcrafters. As I have 3 big dogs and they are too strong to take out all at once, I have to rotate the walk, so I spend a good few hours a week in the woods, and my house looks over the river into the forest, which is totally dark at night. You can't see into the tree line when it's dusk or dark. There have been a couple of times when I've been out in this area when we were confronted with a strong smell of sulfur inside the woods. It is a horrible stench that doesn't seem to be from the ground or any source I could find. This week I found the most unlikely piece of woodcraft, which is a tree stump upturned by the wind, which has a pile of broken branches piled against it to provide a small shelter, not randomly like the weather would do, but they had been stacked to lean against the tree. This part of the forest is quite close to the village, and I would imagine at night it would give a perfect spy point to watch people in their houses or see who's moving around. It reminds me of the wild man structure found by the police in the Peak District when tracking a wild man that scared women and villagers in the 1880s. And the same conclusion was reached, that it was some kind of lookout or hut. The structure doesn't really provide any cover from the weather, which makes it seem unlikely to be man-made. There is no sign of bracken or a debris cover. It does seem more like a lean-to than a bushcraft shelter. I don't see why it would be out there in the open for all to see either, so I'm really unsure. I will keep my eye out now for anything looking out of place, and I have found a small stack built of twigs and rocks in a ditch near the river. Both of these are odd, and as I say, I have no clear bushcraft reason for them to be built. In the area of the first shelter, my dogs, who are American Bull Terrier, are not comfortable. These are dogs with no fear of anything. Their body language tells me a lot, and I wouldn't say they are scared near the lean-to. They do seem to act in a way that they haven't acted before. For instance, for the first time ever, they let me walk out in front of them, which has never happened in the 7 years I have walked them in this area. The dogs are usually up the trail ahead of me, and it did appear as if they seemed to be looking at something that I couldn't see or make out. Their attention was on the bushes, and I kept looking in that direction also, but couldn't see anything. Then, for about 4 weeks ago, something really strange happened, and I heard a proper howling from the woods. It was around 9 p.m. on the Wednesday night, and the dogs were out in the garden to go to before I locked up for the night. I was waiting for them and heard the strangest sound. 5 long, loud wolf howls, all followed by coyote-type yappings. My dogs, who would usually lose it if another dog makes a noise near their house, they would bark and make a lot of noise, but they didn't react how they usually would. They just tipped their heads sideways and listened. After the howls, I was a bit shocked and dragged them indoors. It did seem as if they didn't want to come in when I called them. I would normally give them biscuits when they came indoors, and they always came rushing in to get it first. But this night they wanted to stay outside with the howling. It puzzled me what was those howlings. It couldn't be a wolf or a coyote or another domestic dog would have received a different reaction entirely from my dogs. So I listened to the wolf howls online, and it sounded spot on to me, a perfect match. How did I hear 100% wolf howl with an added coyote conversation at the end, here in the UK? Then, 2 weeks on from the first howling episode, it happened again. I stopped dead when I heard from the woods an absolute same howl as the American werewolf howl you hear in the film. Just one short, deep scream, hollow, and then silence. So, me and my dogs are not going deep into the forest until there's more food around, just in case, because I will be honest, that howl was horrible and froze my stomach. So, I do need some advice. Do Bigfoot make wolf sounds? Some people say they can imitate owls or other animals. Or do we have both Dogman and Bigfoot in the UK? Do Dogman make that sulfur smell I smell also? Do Dogman build shelters to watch people from? Or is this just nothing? I'd really like some advice. People say so many different things, and it's hard to know what I heard. Update. I went back to a fan today with the dogs, and I was in there a while when I heard my first loud wood knock. As another dog without an owner came running into the area off its lead in the distance. As the loose dog neared us in the area we were in, I heard a clack as loud as could be, and it moved the stray dog off. And this is a safe part of the woods as I've become to think of it. This is not the area where the dogs behave oddly in the tree with the pointless looking structure. But another 500 meters back is where most people turn around due to the distance and head back to their car. I like to push on a bit, and about 500 meters further in, give or take. The woods always feel different at this point, almost with a being watched feeling. Firstly, the small structure that has no clear purpose, then the howls and calls. My dogs always stop next to that structure, as the thick, reedy grass is their favorite thing to eat, and I stand around for 5 minutes or so watching them chew and waiting for them to finish. So I do notice small changes when I go about my routine that have started to stand out at me. Rocks have been carried and arranged with sticks in a little A poking out in front and berries laid around them. I've checked all similar areas of running water here, but haven't seen another one or anything like it. There is also moss scraped off this tree's trunk. There is scuffed earth beneath it on the bank, and there seems to be footmarks, but they could quite easily be human bare feet. In the last 2 days of walking this part of the wood, a large A-frame structure has appeared. The A-frame shape is laid on the floor and is made of trees that were carried there, as there are no root holes or drag marks either. One tree has deep scratches in it. Then the next to the A-frame shape is a stump, which also has deep scratches and wood chips scattered around it, with another clawed or debarked log aside. As the first area I mentioned with the strange lean-to has been smashed up and cleaned away, almost like a tornado has been through it. This is the place where the dogs have behaved oddly. So, I'm unsure what to make of this. I know it's not weather damage. I know it's not human, as I'm there myself most days, and I would have seen ground disturbance as they walked in or out, or some sort of human sign. The shelters are not something I have seen in this area before, and the howls I heard still have me a bit spooked. I think the best thing I can do is keep visiting and taking note of any changes that happen, and I will keep an eye on my dogs and how their behavior changes and jot it down. If I find anything weird or things change, I will take note of that also. If I hear howls again, I'll try to record them. I have to be honest and say I'm stumped. The problem I have with these structures and shelters is many of them resemble bushcraft, which, in a way, these shelters do as well. But very poor bushcraft, in my opinion. These wouldn't stand up to much, and a slightest touch would push them over, it seems. They are poorly covered and resemble more of a hunting blind than an actual place to sleep between hunts. But I'm no expert on this subject. It doesn't seem fit for a shelter or to have any purpose or use. If it's taken 2 days to get this far, you would see a sign of human foot movement, surely. I do see cut wood, but if you were making a shelter, you would use whatever is available. I think I'm not expend time ripping limbs or making the noise it would take to gather so much wood, when there's a good pile around to use. Or is that my own human opinion, and I'm way off? The honest answer is, I don't know. So this could be human or unknown. I'm going to ask you guys out there in the know what you think. I know the internet is swamped with misinfo when it comes to bushcraft and Bigfoot shelters. For now, we are in early stages of learning here in the UK, so we note them and any finds we have. We should try to match them to other bushcraft or ask for advice as we have here. I'm sure out there people are able to help. Foragers, wild campers, survivalists, bushcrafters, and wood schools, even scouts. If we ask and they say, yes, we did that, we can cross that off and move on. If they say no, no idea, we keep it and try to find the same thing in other areas. The shelters aside, I'm very interested in the dog's behavior and though they acted around the shelter. Looking off into the bushes, putting their master in front of them, says they're either very scared or thought the threat lied behind them. The howls that were heard 2 separate occasions seemed to interest the dogs. Dogs and animals can be the key if you watch their behavior and how it changes in certain animal areas. The tail will drop or curl under to protect its belly. They will bark loudly for a threat they can easily handle, but a low growl means they are faced with a large adversary. They may drop to their bellies or suddenly go end point, and on some occasions some dogs will refuse to enter some areas, pulling their leads or running away to a safer place. They will alert you to danger, as most dog owners will testify, and they will pick up a scent or sound a long time before a human sense kicks in and warns us. If you are in an area and your dogs react, watch their ears and the direction they point them in. Listen to them and go back and skirt away the area until the dogs settle down again. I told you guys, a very interesting encounter. Yet not an encounter, but signs all around. Big dogs being scared, that means something bigger's out there. It may be a Bigfoot and it may be a Dogman. I myself, by the howls, think it's a Dogman. You know, he was looking all around in the bushes, and yeah, Bigfoot is a very good hider, but Dogman could have just been laying there in the ground or something. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you guys think. All I know is this is scary. And with that, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys tomorrow with a new upload, which will be Thunderbirds.